fishing, it's in my soul.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Hello, Salt Strong Nation. Joe Simons. Like diamonds. We are back. I'm pumped about this show. I have been trying to get Blair Wiggins, the Mogan Man, on this show forever. We've both had a couple of times where things have come up. Last week, Blair had pipes bursted, and this past week, I was stuck down in the Everglades. So now we're finally here doing it. We're going to be talking about some of the best places to catch redfish. Since Blair, in his show, Addictive Fishing, which we've all seen, I mean, he has been everywhere and anywhere that probably holds redfish. And so I know he's got some amazing stories to share and some amazing places for you guys to visit. And then we're also going to talk about the clam restoration project there in the Indian River Lagoon. So, Mr. Blair Wiggins, welcome to the show, brother.
What is happening, Joe? It's we finally get to do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm pumped to have you on here, man.
We've been trying, but either I've been fishing or, like you said, pipes busting, and that's what you get when you got a 100-year-old house in a plant city that the pipes have never been changed. It kind of takes priority.
Oh, I'm pleased to hear they made it 100 years.
Oh yeah, cast iron pipes, they're amazing. But favorite places in the world of redfish?
Yeah.
That is actually a real hard question.
Yeah, it's a loaded question.
Fishing that FLW, I was thinking about this the other day, and actually thinking about it all the time. We just filmed a show up in Steenahatchee, and with the FLW, the Red Cup, and IFA tournaments, and all the redfish tournaments that are fished all around the Gulf and the Atlantic, it's kind of hard to choose one good spot to go and say, hey, I want to go do this, because, my answer might surprise you, because I love fishing Texas for redfish. Okay. And there's, like you said, there's so many different places. And when we were doing the show up in Steenahatchee, that was probably the only place on the Gulf Coast that I haven't fished, from Brownsville, Texas, to Key West, and covering the Gulf. And I finally got to cover that. So there's really not one square inch of the Gulf now, maybe a 25-mile stretch here and there that I haven't fished. And my go-to place, and it's a long travel for us, but is down in the Lower Laguna Madre in Texas. You have sight fishing, you have big trout, you have big black drum, you have snook down there. If anybody saw the show when we were down there last, we actually were down in Brownsville catching snook. And it was the biggest. I wish we could have seen, had some underwater footage of it, because there was some giant snook that were hanging around that god awful place where they were calling out.
So were you seeing like overslot snook, like real thick ones?
Oh yeah, I saw some up to 25 pounds, no doubt. And it was so different fishing this snook. I know we're talking about redfish, but it was so different fishing for snook there, because here I am trying to finesse these fish, and the guide I was with is, no, you just plant it. It hooks up. I'm like, nah, I can watch one eat. And only got a couple of them to eat until I started dredging and not putting any action on the lure at all, and they started eating. But you can get down to Texas. There's just miles and miles of crystal clear flats, and it's all sight fishing. And one thing, when you're looking around those flats, it's very rare that you see another boat. And it's rare that you see another boat all day long, because there's just hundreds of miles of flats that are, 2 feet of water, and they're beautiful, crystal clear sight fish. You come across schools of a couple hundred at times. I think it's a little kept secret down there, but we can expose it. It is neat down there, and a great place to stay down there where we stayed with San Antonio's down there. It's right on Baffin Bay.
Wait, what is it called again?
Fin and Feathers.
Okay, yep, cool.
And they're right there on Baffin Bay. I mean, it's a great place. You jump on the boat, you're down to the ramp, and next thing you know, you're especially Baffin Bay. You got redfish that hang around they call it worm dung down there. It's actually deposits that worms made millions of years ago, and they've turned into like little reefs out there, and it's real neat fishing. Like I said, it's some of the coolest fishing. You can have muddy water, you can fish. You can have clear water, you can fish. So it's the best of both worlds down there.
So I'm curious, because you have traveled. I mean, I know you live on the East Coast, but you've traveled. Let's just stick with the Gulf for right now. Are you changing up things at all in terms of your lure? You talked a little bit about the presentation of it, but are you changing up colors drastically? Are you putting on blades, spinner blades and stuff to get a ton of vibration, some of that murky Texas water? What are you doing that's different and the same?
Pretty much fishing the same colors and same patterns. DOA shrimp or the top water mirror lures, the top dogs, top pups, and one color that we did use down there on the show that was absolutely amazing that we got anything to eat it was that candy corn color, and that it was it sticks out like a sore thumb on the flat. It's kind of like a goldfish in a tannic acid pond. It stuck out like you could see it as soon as it hit the water, almost 50 feet away, and you really just see a flash and boom, you got a nice trout on the trout. Go nuts over it.
Oh, that's cool. All right, so that was kind of a top pick. Talk about maybe a trip where they don't have to be huge, but it was just on fire, like places. Because I think most of our listeners are especially if they're in Florida, the Carolinas, they're not going to head down to the lower part of Texas anytime soon. Most of them just want to go out there and get tight lines. They want to catch bunch of redfish. Obviously, if they catch a nice upper slot or over slot or a big old bull, great. But talk about some of the places that you've been that just always seem to kind of be on fire just to catch a bunch of fish.
Always on fire up in the Panhandle of Florida. I've had great luck up there when I fished the FLW tournaments. There's good blind casting up there. You got creeks and rivers, and you got the Tannic water up there. Choctawaha Bay. I've probably destroyed that name, but there's so many different conditions and situations up in there where you can go catch redfish. You can go catch them around the bridges, and they're the big bulls up there. Then you get back up on the flats, and you got the ones that run up and down on the flats, and you can run out to the beach up there, and there's giant schools of redfish out there on the beach. You get the big bulls that come through, and then there's like 8 or 10 different schools up there that all the guides know about, and they're always eating. They always get released, and it's nice, beautiful water. Then if you happen to make it up there in April, you can always go out and get a big slot cobia.
Yeah.
I remember a couple times during the FLW, me and my partner found our fish that we were going to fish in the tournament, and we put the ladder on the front of the boat and went cobia fishing.
Yeah, they get some monsters up there.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And of course, I got to say Venice, Louisiana. It's you throw the rule book out the window when you go there, because they'll eat a tennis shoe if you have it work just right. I mean, it's back before Katrina, I was fortunate enough to get to fish down there in Venice, and it was like literally stepping back in time. Back then, it seemed like the 30s, because they'd never been hit by a hurricane.
Yep.
All the original structures were there. I think some of the cockroaches in Grandma's kitchen was, they were sitting on the front porch with their legs crossed, and where's my breakfast? It was neat, but it's the fish is still great there. You can find the crystal clear conditions like up in Delacroix and some of the spots up in Fuchon, and back up, you get up in that swamp water up in there where the hydrilla is, and I mean it's just there are floating pumpkins. And I remember a lure that we threw one time, me and Travis Tanner. We were up and fishing the big hydrilla beds, and I mean, this thing looked like something from outer space. It had 3 spinner blades on it, 3 hooks, and I brought it across this one hole in the hydrilla, and like 3 redfish jumped on it, and they were all like 27 inches that weighed 12 pounds. And they were bulldogs. They destroyed that. Took my line, and next thing you know, they're fighting over that thing out in the water, and finally they just disappeared.
Yeah,
they destroyed it.
it looks like those redfish have been like eating footballs or something. I mean, they get so fat. And you're right. There is every rule that you've learned as an angler in Florida does not apply. If you try to lead a redfish in Venice area, you're going to lose. You got to you got to hit them on their head. It's weird.
Yeah, that or you're not going to catch that redfish. It's the 48 incher that you didn't see.
That's true.
But that's and there's it's all in where you go and how you want to fish the redfish. Like, I had a great time fishing the Neuse River. I just had a conversation with somebody the other day about this trip, and we were fishing the Neuse River up there and using DOA bait busters with a 6-foot leader under a popping cork. And and the weather conditions were, of course, the day before I went up there and pre-fish with a buddy, it was sunny, beautiful, no wind, and we were throwing topwater plugs and catching 50 inchers. And didn't get any of that on camera because we thought the next day was going to be good. But of course, when you bring those cameras out, Mother Nature says, we're not going to let you do this today. So we went out and did it anyway, but it was just kind of nasty conditions. We still tore them up. And it was a weird way to catch him with 6 foot a leader underneath the popping cork.
No doubt. I've never done that. But that's the beauty of fishing, right? It's this never-ending puzzle of figuring out what's going to work where and when. Yep,
that's for sure. And it's always fun when they hit a topwater plug, just because they got to stick that whole head out of the water.
Yeah,
especially when they're chasing it down.
Have you ever? I want to give our mutual friend Tony Prescott a shout out. He obviously helped make this happen as well. Have you ever fished with him in that McDill area?
Not yet. He did get to come over here, and I took him and his boys out for an airboat ride.
Yeah, I
think they thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah,
but I haven't had the chance to get over and fish in McDill legally yet.
Yeah, I am dying to do that. Luke had the chance to do it, and unfortunately, when you go, you obviously you have to be on a kayak or paddleboard, and there's no filming allowed. So you have to play by the rules, but I don't know. Maybe Addictive Fishing. Maybe you can bend some rules. I would love to see some footage from that.
Yeah,
I heard it's amazing.
A body cam or something like that. We're undercover fishing. Will that work, Tony?
Tony can't answer. He's with the government. So
no, yeah, know that. I know that deal from when I was in.
Yeah, talk about that too, because he told me he. I guess when I talked to him last, it was right when that rocket, the space shuttle, was going up, which is near you, and he's like, yeah, like Blair used to work there at the Cape or the Canaveral, and you were like, I guess as close as you could possibly be to the old rockets and the old space shuttles going up. Like what? Tell me about your past life. I have no idea about all this.
Well, past life, I joined the Air Force back when I was 19. I think I was 19 or 20. Okay. And did my 4 years there overseas, and just basically saved my life. Long story short. And after I got out, I got a job working out at the Cape as a quality control inspector for flight control systems on the orbiter. And I did that for about 4.5 years. 8.5 years of government work, including the military. I decided I could do it on my own, and I had already started my guide business. And I was a guide for about 8 years, and through that time, about the last couple of years of doing the full-time guiding, I started the TV show. And went and hooked up with my buddy Kevin McCabe at our 10-year class reunion, and I told him my plans, and he was like, "Better lose some weight, cut that hair, and let's get going." So, basically came out with a pilot, sold it, and I got tired of waking up Saturday mornings and watching ESPN and just watching the back of people's heads. I wanted to make that 18-foot migration. I thought I could do it and catch fish and run my mouth. That's pretty easy. The hard part was doing the advertising. Chasing that living to make it in the fishing industry. It's tough.
Yeah. But you've been one of those who've made it. I mean, I see a lot come and go. And so, how many years now on the show?
21 years.
Holy smokes!
We're hitting this year. Yeah, I think Murph has got the only saltwater, classified saltwater show out there. Neil Williams, he's been doing it forever. I did shows with Neil years ago, and when I was a guide, I did shows with Mark Sosin, and oh god, just about everybody that had a TV show out there, I did shows with. Kind of like I've done shows. I did a show with CA back when he was doing Flats Class. Now he's got a show. There's a few others out there that have done the shows. I have thanked Pat, my old fishing partner for the FLW's got a show on Sun Sports Network.
Too cool. Man, 21 years. That's awesome.
Yep, 21 years. It's been a fun ride, I can tell you that. But, after, so I can talk about the clam restoration deal going on.
Yeah,
and,
I want to talk about that for sure.
And favorite places to redfish as well, and it's always back home. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh no, I want to talk about all that. I do want to hit the. We kind of focused on the Gulf. What about on the other side? I know you're there near that Cape and Cocoa area. Where are some of your favorite places on the East Coast for redfish?
For keeper size redfish, when I was a guide, I would always go into Mosquito Lagoon. I mean, it was great fishing. You could target the big fish there, but there was more tailing fish in Mosquito Lagoon that you could target. Back in the 90s, and even still today, there's more if you can find one tailing. And we're hoping to improve that. We'll get to that in a little bit. But here in my home waters, Mosquito Lagoon for the little guys, I used to say, and if you want to go chase big ones all day, we'll stay in the Indian River and hit the big fish. And, there was always smaller fish mixed in. But I say the smaller fish, the 25 to 30 inches instead of those big 40 to 55 inches.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, but, you're in a good area for some of those big redfish.
Yep, and our trout too it looks like they're coming back. I was up in Mosquito Lagoon like 3-4 weeks ago now with John Lule, and we were trying to film a show up there, and we got one really really good fish, probably about a 10.5, 11-pound trout, and it ate 5 feet from the boat, ate a little DOA cow with you get to see the whole thing. It was incredible.
That is awesome.
Yeah, that one even still gives me chills right now thinking about it. So I haven't lost it yet.
So that's footage that no one's even seen yet?
No, nobody's seen that.
Oh man, I can't wait to see that.
So that's going to be a good piece. I hope it comes out great.
Heck yeah! So on the show, like how many are you doing? How many makes a season now? I don't even know.
13 makes a season now.
Okay.
We've done 13 and then repeat them, and then usually package them up for Discovery Channel. And from there, it's always on YouTube as well. And there's a lot of stuff that gets put on YouTube that you don't get to see on the show.
Yep.
So it's a good reason to go subscribe.
Oh yeah, definitely go subscribe to Addictive Fishing, and plug the heck out of it. It's what it's a big part of why the podcast. We gotta help promote you guys for taking the time to do it. And obviously, if you guys are listening, a lot of people listen in the car, working out. We'll put links to everything in the show notes. It's Salt Strong too. So talk about going a little bit further north. Do you make it up there much? Like in the Georgia, Carolinas, Virginia?
Oh yeah, we went all the way up to North Carolina. Like I said, when we did the Neuse River up there, North Carolina, catching those giant bulls up there. And when you say giant bulls, we're talking 40 to 60 inches. They're huge, incredible fish. And another one of my favorite places is Mount Pleasant around Charleston area. Yep. I mean, nice crystal clear water when the wind's not blowing too hard. And they tail up, and we fish a lot up there with Chris Wilson, Bitsy Wilson, and great guy to go with up there. He knows every little nook and cranny up there around the oyster beds. And it'll kind of freak you out if you never fished up there before, because you'll run across this big flat, and you'll be fishing and fishing and fishing. It makes it look like the grass grew about 10 feet. You look back behind you, and all you see is giant oyster mounds. It looks like If anybody skis out there, it looks like moguls everywhere. And we ran across that. But yeah, he knows it pretty good up there.
Yeah, I would be scared to death driving in that.
Yeah, people think Jacksonville's got a tight swing. You get up around fish like Golden Isle, Golden Meadows, Golden Isle, one of the two. I fished both of them. One's in Louisiana, one's in Georgia, around the Brunswick area. Unbelievable tight swing there.
Yeah,
and redfish are awesome.
It could go like 9 feet in a day. I mean, like we're talking, right? I mean, it's nuts.
Oh yeah, and that's average. They get a big tight swing. It's like 16 feet.
Whew.
It is.
So
have to learn that.
Yeah, that does change things. So let's talk about, and this is talking about redfish, live bait versus artificial. I know everyone's got their opinion. I'd love to hear yours in terms of what are you normally using and what and why.
I always ask people when they ask me that question. I say, "What is the object of the game in fishing?"
To catch fish.
To catch a fish, correct?
Yep.
So if I can catch them on fly, and if I know I can catch them on fly, I'm not going to sit there and waste my time all day buggy whipping it, trying to get them to eat a feather. If I know they're going to eat a feather, I love to throw a fly at them.
Yep.
My next choice, if they're going to eat artificial, I love to throw top water. If they're not eating the top water, I'll go, to the finesse bait if I'm sight fishing. If I'm not sight fishing, they're not eating top water, I would switch to a spoon. If they don't eat that, I go to a live bait, live shrimp, under a popping cork, or actually a DOA under a popping cork would be my last resort. I would use an artificial.
Okay.
And after that, it's get them to the boat, break out the trocars.
That's pretty funny.
So that's my fishing philosophy there, I guess. If I can do it on artificial, the most finesse way with a fly rod, there's no better way to catch a fish, I think, than on a fly rod. It's fun. You get to see the eat. It's a great pull. You're one-on-one with a fish. With one-on-one reel. And what he takes, you got to get back. It's just a neat way to catch fish. I've always loved fly fishing since I was a kid.
That's cool. All right, top mistakes that you see a lot of the weekend warriors making, and maybe even newbies when they're trying to catch redfish, and it could be everything. Casting comes up a lot.
How about even the veteran fishing?
There you go.
Veteran fishermen.
Let's hear it.
And I see it all the time. You're using a top water plug. You stop the plug. You're sitting there going along with a nice dog walk. It's making a nice chatter. He's coming up behind it, and they stop the plug. Here he comes, and they stop moving it. And what happens is 9 times out of 10, they swim off of it.
Yep. I learned that the hard way one time, and I've never done it again.
That or using live bait, setting a hook on a treble hook. Setting a hook on a treble hook. Setting a hook on a circle hook.
Yep.
I had treble hook in my mind because I stepped on one this morning and ripped my toe open.
Son of a gun. Oh.
That's what you get from leaving lures hanging out of your tackle box. Won't do that one.
And anything else? Like I said, I've heard casting from a lot of people when I ask that question to, just going to the same boring spots over and over again, not exploring and things like that.
Oh yeah, casting for sure. I still make that mistake. I get my knees start shaking on a giant redfish across clear water. I've been known to blow cast. You just don't get to see it on camera. And that would be about it. Definitely the casting, but the biggest thing, it's no matter how many times when I was a kid, and I had my clients throwing top water plugs. I said, when you see the redfish come up behind it like a submarine fixing to explode on it, if you see it explode, don't set the hook because they jerk the bait 10 feet away from them. They lose it. I'm waiting for you to feel it pull before you set the hook. But then they would stop it and they wouldn't eat it.
Yeah.
So, definitely that one.
Did you ever read that book, The Scientific Angler?
No, but I do think I have it on my shelf.
Well, you'd mentioned Mark Sosin. He wrote the intro to it, but there was a chapter in that, which is funny you mentioned it, that talked about topwater, really any lure, but you mentioned topwater, about that stopping when you see that fish coming up about to smash it. And it's like, you need to do the opposite. If anything, you speed it up. And he says, from every experiment and test we've done, from looking at it above the water and underwater, it is impossible for you to reel in that topwater and outdo that fish. You are not going to beat the fish. If it's hungry, it will chase it down, and it will get it there. Because a lot of people think that, if I go too fast, it's gonna. No. Like it is impossible for you to reel that thing in faster than that fish. And that always stuck with me, because I messed up. I had a guide long time ago polling me, and it had been a long day, and I had the perfect opportunity end of the day for this monster red, and I paused. I froze, and he was screaming, like he wouldn't talk to me that night. He was so pissed off, and I never did that again. Dang.
Fortunately, I've had the chance to be out there and have seen. I wouldn't say I've seen it all, but I still do stuff every time I get out on the boat. But I have seen a lot of stuff that fish have done, and it's just amazing. You know, you throw it at their tail and they spin around, or I've had them jump out of the water at my lure before as it's going, flying by their head. Just amazing, just stuff you're like, no way. So I kind of quit telling those stories because people are like, oh, no, it didn't happen. Well, yeah, it did, but just didn't get it on camera.
That's right. It doesn't count if you didn't get it on camera. So let's flip it over to this clam restoration project. I know I heard about it a lot, and I listened to your podcast with Tom Rowland, which was excellent on there. And tell everyone just kind of let's talk about the problem first, like why this came about.
Well, I'll keep it with the way I run my mouth. I'll keep it as brief as I can. It started basically when they put the causeways in. 40, 50 years ago, 60 years ago now, by damming up the river, they're cutting off the water flow. And then they put in pad 39 of the road out to pad 39 A&B, where it had great big swaths of Finger Lakes that ran through there that basically they just shut off. And, they're trying to move massive volumes of water with little culvert pipes, and it just ain't going to do it. Same thing with the relief bridges and whatnot. They think that that's going to be enough water to flow, and obviously, over 50 years, it's taken a long time to kill it. And that's in conjunction with so many other things, like them spraying the herbicide in the fresh water and it leaching into the salt water. And they say it doesn't leach into the salt water, but I got right here where I live in Melbourne, they spray all these retention ponds and they're drained. I got video of it draining right into the Indian River. Then you have the septic tank problem that's putting in a lot of fresh water and high nutrients into, it makes that brown algae just flourish. And that's the bad algae. And then with everything compounded back in 2010, we had that freeze that killed everything, basically, in the rivers. A few of the bigger trout made it, thank God. But, we were void of fish for a long time over here. And our water quality basically went down the tubes. Our water turned to coffee with all the brown algae in there. And then what fish we had left over the next few years, basically got a lot of them died in the brown algae tides. So I went out and did a show with Travis Tanner, and it got to a point where we knew where the fish were living. They weren't moving really fast, so they weren't picking up wakes. So we were able to basically anchor up with a giant piece of ladyfish, throw it out there on a hook, and you'd feel the pinfish come start to nibble on it, and they would put the salt in the water as they're sitting there nibbling on it, and eventually a redfish would find it, hopefully before the pinfish cleared your hook off. And we were able to catch a few big redfish that way. But you would basically stick your hand in the water, and as soon as your hand went in the water, you couldn't see your hand anymore. It was the nastiest. It was worse than coffee. And I hadn't seen water that polluted and that nasty, even in some of the worst part of Louisiana and Texas, where you got oil spilling out, and it stunk. It was just nasty. And I right then I was like, what can be be done? What can be done? And then we did another show later on. The water cleared up a little bit. Did another show up in there with Lisa Fitzgerald from the CCA.
Yep.
And I was talking with her. I said, I've got this idea. As a guide on the Indian River back in the 90s, they were taking our clams out by the millions a day. Millions a day. If you ever fished here back in here in the 90s, up until about 2009, I think it was, when they basically, 99, when basically they just, no clams were left, and you can see that on charts and stuff of them selling the clam meat and whatnot. And that was just the meat, not the pounds of clams themselves. Just amazing things. I can go off on so many things. But anyway, back to the problem. The show up there with Lisa Fitzgerald, and I talked to her. I said, hey, I got this idea. In the 90s, I saw millions of clams coming out, and nothing was being put back in. They tried to do some clam farming, but they couldn't release the clams up there because they were not native to the area. They could only keep them in bags and controlled areas, and they kept dying because they weren't native clams to the area.
Got it.
So I got with Lisa and told her a few ideas I had, and we got together with the head folks up there at CCA, and they put us in touch with University of Florida and SWC. And I mean, once the ball got rolling, man, it was incredible how quick it happened. We did a little fundraiser. We did a fundraiser last October. Anyway, let me get back. Some of my sponsors kicked in some money. Starbright was one big contributor. Starbright Solutions. They make boat cleaning products. They make Startron.
Yep.
Stuff you put in your boat or any gas engine. But they kicked in some money. A couple other sponsors did sporting goods that kicked in some money. And we got a grant from CCA up in Nashville, believe it or not. Got a grant from them to get everything, the ball rolling. And once we reached a certain mark of money to raise, they were able to get the scientists to go down to Mosquito Lagoon in the south end, where it was the nastiest water, the most polluted water, sometimes the highest salinity water, sometimes the lowest salinity water. And they spent 3 days and they found like 30 clams.
Dang.
And I'll stop right there and go back to the commercial industry when they were here. They took so many clams out that they took the clam population down to a point of non-sustainability, which means that, we still had clams out there, but they weren't close enough in proximity to one another. When they spawned, the magic didn't happen because there was so few clams. So back to that sustainability factor. When they came down and got those 30 clams from Southern Mosquito Lagoon, they took them back up to Whitley Labs up in St. Augustine, put them under controlled conditions, and found like 4 good spawners that were like 8-year-old clams. And when they were able to, Jose Nunez up there, we call him the clam whisperer, he plays the music just right, and gets the water temperature just right. Next thing you know, it happened. And the first spawn, we got 1 million clams out of that.
Whoa!
And they took 250,000 of the most healthiest clams that were in that spawn, and those are the first 250,000 that got released in December. So it's amazing to me that it's happened.
That is so cool.
I've dreamed of, but without the help of CCA, not everybody agrees with everything they do, but they're a great organization to be involved with. And hands down to them. Without them, this thing would never happen. That's
great to hear. So for those that go for it, man.
Can I put one more in? And we get our waters back, and everything cleans up. Like it's actually working now.
Yeah.
But when everything cleans back up, my favorite place to fish once again will be back on the Space Coast, because we'll hopefully have the big reds, the little reds, the giant trout.
Yep.
Everything come back. So that would be my favorite place to fish just right now.
Love it, man. So, and for those that don't know, can you share why clams are so critical to not just Indian River and the lagoon, but just in general? Because we did another show a long time ago about oysters, and I learned a ton. So kind of share why this is so critical for cleaning up the water.
Well, Brevard Zoo over here has an oyster program there, and I hate to say it's not that successful, because back when we had the storms came in last August. Mm-hmm. It dumped so much fresh water into and I knew this would happen. I haven't said the oysters are going to die. They died out naturally here in the 80s. You can't bring them back, but we still have clams. We bring the clams back. We'll clean the water up enough. Maybe the oysters eventually will come back. But that's my thinking. So, like I said, the original thing, what I saw come out last was the clams. Oysters were out of here in the 80s. Yeah. There were still good oyster beds up in Oak Hill, but in the Indian River and Banana River, oysters virtually disappeared back in the 80s. And then the clams disappeared, and then our water absolutely just went to the south, way south.
Doo-doo brown south.
Doo-doo brown south. And so what a clam does, it does just what an oyster does. It's basically a clam after it reaches 8-9 months old, it will be able to filter anywhere between 30 to 55 gallons of water a day.
Wow.
And what's good about a clam can clam up and bury itself under the sand. So if we get a tropical storm, a hurricane that dumps in 10, 12, 14 inches of rain, a clam basically can bury down underneath the sand, stay there. And these clams here, we call them super clams because that's out in the Mosquito Lagoon. They come from the most polluted waters out there. So their genetics are basically, how does Dr. Todd put it? Dr. Todd Osborne is the scientist behind all this. He says it puts the genetics in place for them, predisposed. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
They're genetically made to live in that kind of water. That's why those commercial clams, when they were farming them, that I mentioned earlier, they weren't surviving. They had like a 30% success rate.
That makes sense.
They weren't from here.
Yep.
Good. I was able to tie that back in.
You've turned into a regular scientist now.
I've learned, like you with the oysters, I have learned so much about oysters and clams in the past year and a half. It blows my mind. And people are probably asking or wondering what's coming up next. It's the clam release that we're going to be doing with about 6 million clams, I do believe, coming up on very short future. I can't
6 million clams?
Yeah.
Holy
they have been actually. They've been releasing here in certain places, and I've sworn to secrecy where it's at. But they've already dumped over 1 million clams.
Wow, that's awesome. So
it is, like I said, it's a dream come true. I hope I didn't spill beans to that for anybody. By then, it should be fine.
No, that is so cool. Do you go? Are you allowed to go film all that stuff, or they try to keep it?
Oh, we're gonna be documenting the whole thing.
Okay, awesome, cool. That's great. Well, definitely shoot me or put it on YouTube wherever, and we'll embed some of that stuff from your channel. And that's so cool. So, how much does the average clam filter?
Anywhere between 30 to 55 gallons of water a day.
Wow,
it's basically the same as an oyster. And another thing that's cool about a clam, when it poops, it doesn't poop out into the water. It poops down into the mud, so it's actually putting fertilizer in there for grass to grow.
Huh. Did not know that. That's cool.
That's another thing I learned. That's one of those things that you're like, really?
Interesting, man. That's so cool. Well, kudos to you, man. I think when I first saw it, I was like, well, man, go Blair, because so many of us, including me, we complain about it and all this, that we're not catching as many fish in this area as we used to. And man, big kudos for you for taking the bull by the horns, and also to CCA and everyone else who was involved. That the bad part about working with some of these agencies and nonprofits and just the government in general is it takes forever, and it seems like this thing happened pretty doggone quick. And the fact that you guys are already getting millions now of clams, that are going to be working for us, that is awesome. I'm really pumped. That's it's been a great idea that's been recognized now by some of the scientists over here. The Marine Research Project the Year Award for the Indian River back in December, and they jumped on behind it and got a great donation from them at our fundraiser that we did, and that was an incredible night. I mean, I had more people there than we knew what to do with. It was great. That's great, man. Well, brother, I know you're about to go tear up the water on the airboat, so tell everyone where they can find you and watch you and follow you.
Well, of course, everybody can go to the Addictive Fishing website at addictivefishing.com. You can keep up with all of our social media sites there, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, all of them, all the social media sites.
Are you a Twitter guy? I didn't know you were a tweeter.
Well, I didn't either till we closed the show about 4 years ago. But yeah, we tweet. We definitely tweet. Got to keep up with the times, right?
I hear you. That's one platform I've had trouble with, man. I just don't keep up with it, unfortunately. I know we have an account, but I don't know when the last time we posted was.
With three Facebook pages, a personal page.
Your YouTube channel is one of the best ones out there for all the the fishing show guys. I mean, you it seems like you saw the opportunity there and started putting your stuff up pretty early, and I mean you have one of the best channels, man. It's well done.
Okay, you want me to really make you feel great?
What were you the first guy to put a fishing video on YouTube?
No, we were the first people to put fishing videos on the internet.
What? No way.
Yeah. We
you got to share this story.
We had this kid working for us. We called him Nero. He basically just stayed awake at night and lived in the computer. And he was absolutely incredible. And he came up, he made a DOS-based player that you could download. I think it was 10 seconds video at a time. And we could trace whoever was watching, and we had people in Dubai watching. It was amazing. We get on there every night. Okay, let's see where we've got people watching from. And it was absolutely wild. And then, believe it or not, I had something like YouTube before YouTube. It was called OutdoorTheater.com. He had to send in his videos, and we were putting them online, and it got too expensive because it's only paid for all the bandwidth. And we ran out of bandwidth. It seemed like every week we were having upgrade.
And then someone would call your landline where you're on dial up, and it would shut the whole upload down. And nobody was even making money off the internet at the time because you couldn't figure out how to calculate to charge somebody to see a click or to see an impression. But that's the stuff I didn't want to do, but I had to learn. So it's many years of trial and error, and that's cool. I did not know that. Good story.
Yeah, that was wild. That was many moons ago. But like I said, it's been a fun ride watching this whole thing happen.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, 21 years, got another. How many more decades do you think? How many more seasons are you going to keep going?
Hey, we'll see how long the sponsors like me. If I can keep doing it, I will keep doing it as long as I can, man. It's fun to do. It's fun to get out and talk to people. I miss the heck out of this doing that with this damn coronavirus and stuff. I love getting out and meeting the fans and talking to them. It's great. I've been doing a lot here from the house. People, sending me emails, and I'm sending out a package to a guy out in Louisiana for his kids. But just a sign hat because they're like, we missed you. We thought you were going to be at Louisiana Sportsman Show, and they canceled everything out there, so I couldn't make it. So just doing everything I can from home.
I hear you. Well, hopefully it all gets better soon, and we'll hopefully see you out either at some event or on the water. And man, if we can ever help you in any way, let me know. And everyone, please go to addictivefishing.com and follow Blair, the Mogan Man, on every one of his social media channels, and definitely subscribe on YouTube as well. And check out that this whole clam project. I'm gonna go do a little bit more studying myself. You got me intrigued by this, and we'll
actually, if you do go to our YouTube site, there's a few videos up there of the clam restoration project and what's going on, and Jose Nunez. You'll see Dr. Todd. He does a great explanation. You'll actually see me holding a little ball that has 1.6 million clams in it. It just looks like dirty water. It's pretty cool.
All right, I'm looking. Okay, cool. And so there's a link here. Oh, I see it. So yeah, we'll embed that video that's from Addictive Fishing on the blog page. Yeah, so everyone, if you are listening remotely, meaning in the car, working out, whatever, we'll put all this at saltstrong.com under the podcast section. We'll have links to everything as well and embed some of these videos, and we'll embed a couple of Blair's most popular videos from his YouTube channel. And everyone, thank you for all the love, all the support. This has been a really fun one, Blair. I really appreciate your time. And, man, have an awesome day out in the water, brother.
Well, Joe, I appreciate it. And the fans out there, thank you very much for, I'm sure there's some of them out there that came to the clam restoration deal and maybe even bid on some stuff. But hopefully we're going to do another one here in October online. It looks like that's how the things are going to be going here. So that's what we're going to be doing, putting up prizes and stuff like that. I have my wife working on it. But just want to say thanks to everybody out there for making my dream come true on the Indian River. It'll benefit everybody.
Yeah, for hopefully many generations. And finally, big thanks to Tony Prescott for making this happen. I know Blair and I have been trying to get together for quite a few years. And finally, Tony was going to be out in the airboat with him. I was like, tell him we got to do this podcast. So thank you, Tony, for making that happen, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Tony. Go Air Force.
Yeah, man. Go, guys. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Joe.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul. It was passed down to me from the days of old. Find us on the